Hi, folks. This is a one-shot take to explain how to get your LibreText textbook into Canvas and then also where you will be updating. So I'm going to walk you through it. Say you have finished your book, and this is it. This is Dr. Diana Hurlbut's book, and it's done. This is what your students see. You'll notice it's a light gray panel. We're not logged in. Up here in the URL, you'll see it says Irvine Valley College. It's in our courses. It's published. It's publicly available. Students can download a full book. If someone wants to buy a copy of the book, they could go and buy a copy of the book. You can download it in a lot of ways. This is the published book. This is also your living document. Whenever you want to make updates to the content, you're going to make it directly in LibreText. But a lot of people, they say, Rachel, what I really want is to have it in my Canvas course. So this is an example of a Canvas course. There's a lot of modules in here, but there's no textbook integrated into it. Now, you can just take this link up here at the top now, because this is a live link. It doesn't say Workbench anymore. It says Courses, Irvine Valley College. You can take this URL and you could put that in your syllabus and say, there's the textbook, okay? That is absolutely an easy way to do it. Also, then tell students, hey, you can get a full PDF right here. If you go into a specific chapter, you can do just the chapter PDF. If you are editing as you teach, remind your students to only do the chapters and not the full book, because this won't be updated immediately, but this, the full screen, is. And that's a whole other video on PDF recompiling. So if you want this book into your Canvas course, you can just take that link again and put it in your syllabus, put it in maybe your orientation page, right? Up here, you can put it in here as a textbook page. Done. That is option number one. All right. And that you can just do it by adding a link, right? You'd add it in as a URL and it'd be a textbook link in there. Or you can add it to the actual Word document or Google document that is your syllabus. However, there is also an option where you can download it as an IMSCC file. So this is where you're going to import into LMS. So you do not have to be logged in to do this. I am still, you'll notice, logged out. Anyone, any teacher, anyone can download this into LMS. And you'll notice right here, see it says LibreText IMSCC file. So we're going to go right here, find it, and we're going to label it demo book, demo IMSCC title is that you wanted to name it. And then you're going to put it in. I'm going to put it in my desktop so it's easy to find later. Okay. Then you go to your Canvas course, which is right here. You go to settings. You go to import course content. Okay. Right here, you select a Canvas course export package. And then you're going to click and drag that file. Now, if we hadn't renamed it, you could just click and drag it in, but often people want to go and find it. So we go find it. It's in desktops. It's right here under demo. Okay. And then you're going to click and drag that in. Okay. You could do all content if you don't want all content. Say you only want one module or you only want a couple of the modules or a couple of the chapters, you could select the specific. But we're just going to do the whole thing because it's a really big book and I want to show you how it works. And then you hit add to import queue. Okay. And you'll see it right here queued. Now, this is a really big book from biotechnology, microchemistry. I don't know. I'm not a STEM person. So it's a big book. It takes a while to do. If your book is really tiny, it'll usually happen in just a couple minutes. If it's a really big book, it could still just take a couple minutes if you have really good internet. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer if your internet's slow, but you'll see it running. Once it's done running, it'll say completed like this. If there's issues with it, it'll say partially completed, which is why I left this here. So it was done already. So now if we go back to modules, it's loading. There we go. Here's all the original modules. And down at the bottom now, this is your actual textbook. Now, all of these are click and draggable, right? So you can click and drag them anywhere you want. So this is option one for having your book actually in your Canvas course. You could then click and drag this chapter directly up wherever you want it. Say I want to pull it all the way up, right? I'm going to make it small for a minute so it's easier to drag. And I can just click and drag it up to where I want it. So say, a lot of people like to do 1 week, one module. So you could have this as chapter with the module before it, or you can actually click and drag this into the module. You could actually open this up and you could actually drag these into the module itself. You could drag the sections. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. So either way, you drag these in here, okay? You can be reading it. So when you do this, it means you're reading the content, you're reading content, you go to the next one, and it's automatically the book. This is the book. You don't have to link out. You're not losing any students to a new area because they're reading the book right here. Now, you could have also given them, right, this link to 1.1, which is this right here. So we could have also gone in here and gone into 1.1, and they can read it here as well. Okay, so it's the same exact thing. However, anytime you make students click out to something else, you often get kids who aren't going to click back in to the textbook or back into your Canvas course. So having them read it directly in and then go back to whatever other content you've built into your Canvas course is one way to go about it. Okay. And a lot of people really like that. They like to basically do readings. Then they have checkpoints or what we call knowledge checks, which are little tiny mini quizzes, right? This one's only two questions. So that is one option. The pros, the students read everything directly in Canvas. They don't know any different. They are only ever seeing it right in here. And you can integrate little knowledge checks and quizzes and everything else, your lectures, anything else you want right in between it, or put these in between your other content, and it's good to go. Also, the other pro is that this remains live. So when you're reading this here, right, the empirical US metric system, they're reading it here in Canvas. If Diana goes to her book and she logs in as an editor, right, which would require her to sign in, okay, and she'd have to sign in, okay. Now, say she wanted to make edits to this 1.5, okay. If she goes in here and makes changes to this, hits edit in the dark gray panel because she's logged in, and makes changes to this, it'll stay live. It's automatically updated here because this is hot linked, which means that whatever you do on LibreTexts, your students get to read here. So that is one of the other great benefits of doing an IMSCC file downloaded into your Canvas course. You are going to get the content directly in and it stays updated. You just update LibreTexts and it stays live here in your Canvas course. And your students just read it, they move on to the next section. They never click out. If you want them to do knowledge checks, you want them to connect it to a lecture you do, you're just going to embed that in right here in between the readings, and you're good to go. The downside is you end up with very long chapters, long modules. The first, that can be very overwhelming for some students. But do you want the module to be, you want students to have to link out, and the possibility of having students not know that then they have to come and click back in and then they forget. So either way, this is a problem regardless of whether you're using OER, whether you're using a paid publisher textbook, and it is related to UX usability when it comes to clicking. Anytime you have to click out of something, you lose people and they don't click back in. The number of clicks matter. So a lot of people opt to put it directly in, and that's an easy way to go with it because then the students can just click through it. If you have lots of different kinds of resources, you can also, just put in a link to it and have them go out and read it and have them come back. So this is that. It stays updated. So when you update it in LibreTexts, you'll notice this is the same thing up here. It says Courses, Irvine Valley College. This is the book. We're now logged in as an editor on this book. She can make changes to this and it'll stay live to anybody who has it downloaded. So say you are a collaborative department and you've all agreed to use this book. And then every year, y'all have your new tenure track faculty who is going through their tenure review process. You have them update the book, right, with new case studies. It will be live for anybody who has it downloaded unless you guys make your own separate book. This can be a really beautiful way to create collaborative resources that everybody can use, but then only has to be updated once here. Anybody who has it down will get those updates. So this becomes your living document. You'll notice now when you go to PDF, there's a compile book option. This is the one else is automatic update. This, when you're compiling the book, will save all of your edits that you made. So this is where you make the changes to the book, okay? You can download it to your Canvas course, or you can download it as a full PDF, but make sure that you recompile the book regularly, or the PDF will not reflect your edits, and that is a separate video. So when it comes to this work, you have most students, they're going to want to read it digitally. That's the majority of students. They want to read it digitally. I've asked a lot of students if they prefer having it in a Canvas course and having long modules or linking out to it. And I get kind of the same thing my grandma used to say, 6 half dozen. However, once in a while, you will get students who say, I really prefer a print copy. And so that's where you got to make sure that you've recompiled it and that you tell them, hey, I'm editing the book. Don't print the whole book, just print this chapter or just print these pages because I am still editing. If you're not editing the book, you can tell them, hey, you can print a print copy at cost through LibreTexts directly, and they do not make a profit off of this. This is just the cost of printing and shipping it to you. They could buy a full print copy that way. Depending on if they have a home printer, it might still be cheaper to print the book, and it all depends on how big the book is. This is a really big book for biochemistry. So that is an example of how you would get it. You would go to Downloads, LMS, download it, import into LMS. You go to your course, you go to Settings down at the bottom, right? We're not going to actually do it again. I'm just reminding you. You go to Import Course Content. You go to Canvas Course Export Package. Once it's completed, it will automatically show up in your modules, and then you just click and drag it to where you want it, okay? And that is an easy option. These will stay live. Anything here is automatically updated with whatever you update in LibreText. So that is how that works.